January 30th, 2025. A frigid winter evening over Washington, D.C. Just a day after one of the deadliest mid-air collisions in recent history.
It was the moment an American Airlines plane and a military helicopter collided mid-air last night in Washington, D.C. Right there, you see the moment. That vantage point from Reagan National Airport, that is where the American Airlines flight was attempting to land before the collision above the Potomac River.
Recovery teams have now pulled 28 bodies from the wreckage of Flight 5342 and Black Hawk 12. The full scale of the disaster is only now coming to light. Investigators are piecing together what exactly went wrong in the skies above the Potomac River. How did a routine approach into Reagan National Airport turn into an unspeakable tragedy? Flight 5342, a Bombardier CRJ-700, had departed Wichita Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport at 5:32 p.m. Central Time. It was operated by American Connection, a regional airline that primarily serviced medium-haul domestic routes. The aircraft was scheduled to land at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Time, following a standard approach protocol. On board were 60 passengers and 4 crew members. Among them were diplomats attending international meetings, business professionals heading to critical negotiations, and Olympic-level figure skaters Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov, who were en route to perform at a high-profile charity event in the nation's capital. At 8:47 p.m. Eastern Time, Flight 5342 was cleared to land on runway 33 at Reagan National Airport. The air traffic controller, ensuring smooth operations, radioed the Black Hawk crew, confirming whether they had visual contact with the incoming jetliner. At that moment, Flight 5342 was descending at approximately 180 miles per hour, aligned for final approach. The Black Hawk, however, had been instructed to pass behind the jetliner.
Here, the air traffic controllers just before that advising the helicopter to proceed behind the jet plane. For whatever reason, that communication was either unheard or not responded to, and then you hear those gasps in the control tower, and then officials in the control tower trying to shut down all air traffic here at Reagan National Airport.
But in a matter of seconds, everything unraveled. New findings suggest that the Black Hawk crew mistakenly identified a different aircraft, a second plane that was taking off nearby. Investigators believe the Black Hawk pilots had a visual on the wrong aircraft, not Flight 5342. The tower, assuming they were correctly tracking the incoming jetliner, did not issue further separation instructions. The result? A catastrophic miscalculation. As Flight 5342 turned 45 degrees to align with an alternative runway, the helicopter descended prematurely, intersecting its path. In a split second, the Black Hawk's rotor blades sheared through the CRJ-700's tail section, instantly disabling its control systems. Flight 5342 pitched violently forward, spiraling uncontrollably before slamming into the river. The Black Hawk, its main rotor detached, lost all lift and followed just seconds later, exploding upon impact. The explosion was visible from miles away, shocking onlookers and triggering an immediate emergency response. Fireboats, Coast Guard divers, and local rescue teams braved the freezing waters in a desperate attempt to locate survivors. Within minutes of impact, emergency services from D.C., Virginia, and Maryland coordinated a large-scale search and rescue operation. Fireboats sped toward the wreckage, scanning the icy river for signs of life. The Coast Guard dispatched helicopters equipped with infrared sensors to locate survivors in the darkness, but the frigid waters of the Potomac made survival unlikely. By 9:15 p.m., first responders had identified multiple floating bodies near the crash site. Tragically, the impact and freezing temperatures had claimed most lives instantly. Divers worked through the night, pulling passengers still strapped into their seats from the submerged wreckage. Personal belongings, luggage, clothing, and travel documents floated eerily across the water. With no survivors, all eyes turned to the black boxes, Flight 5342's cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder, now crucial in uncovering the final moments of the disaster. Audio from the control tower, now publicly released, reveals a critical misunderstanding. The Black Hawk crew thought they were monitoring the correct aircraft, unaware of the second plane taking off nearby. This tragic misidentification paired with the tower's failure to issue clearer separation guidance, set the stage for disaster. U.S. President Donald Trump commented, "This disaster is a direct result of misplaced priorities in aviation oversight. Safety must always come first, and we need to take a hard look at what led to this catastrophic failure." Experts are already pointing to critical mistakes that may have played a role in the tragedy. In an interview with the aviation consultant Neil Hansford, he stated, "The air traffic controller should have handled this differently. Why was the helicopter flying at the same altitude as the jet? This points to a significant oversight." As investigators dig deeper, they are examining every possible factor that contributed to the mid-air collision. NTSB investigators revealed during an interview that we are looking into all factors, including miscommunications and procedural lapses. Our goal is to ensure a tragedy like this never happens again. As the NTSB investigation unfolds, the public and aviation industry alike await answers. Were protocols ignored? Did human error play the deciding role? The truth may take months or even years to uncover. But one thing is clear. The tragic collision over the Potomac has changed aviation safety discussions forever. The tragic collision over the Potomac River has left an indelible mark on the nation and the world. As the initial shock subsides, the focus shifts to honoring the victims, supporting their families, and addressing the broader implications for aviation safety. In the days following the disaster, communities across the country have come together to mourn the 67 lives lost. Vigils have been held not only in Washington, D.C., but also in the hometowns of the victims, from Wichita to international locales. During a conference, American Airlines CEO Robert Isom shared that, "We are deeply saddened by this tragic event. Our hearts go out to the families and loved ones of all those affected. We are committed to supporting them during this difficult time and cooperating fully with the ongoing investigation." The International Olympic Committee extended their heartfelt sympathies, noting that the tragedy may have claimed the lives of Olympians, young athletes, and their support staff. At the 2025 European Figure Skating Championships, a moment of silence was observed to honor the figure skaters and their families who perished in the crash. During an interview with aviation safety expert Chesley Sully Sullenberger, shared that this tragedy underscores the need for continuous vigilance in aviation safety. We must evaluate our current protocols and ensure that all necessary measures are in place to prevent such incidents in the future. In response to the collision, the Federal Aviation Administration has taken immediate action. The helicopter route that the Black Hawk was following at the time of the crash has been indefinitely closed, along with another route south of the Key Bridge in Washington, D.C. These closures aim to prevent similar incidents, while a comprehensive review of flight operations in the congested airspace around Reagan National Airport is conducted. Lawmakers have also voiced concerns about the increasing congestion in Washington's airspace. Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine had previously warned about the dangers posed by adding more flights to Reagan National Airport, citing safety risks due to the crowded airspace. In light of the recent tragedy, these concerns have gained renewed attention. Senator Mark Warner stated that, "We're dealing with an extraordinarily complex airspace system that has been complicated even further by the addition of flights to National Airport. At what point is enough enough?" As the investigation continues, the National Transportation Safety Board is expected to release a preliminary report within 30 days. The findings will be crucial in understanding the factors that led to this disaster and in implementing measures to enhance aviation safety. Condolences have poured in from around the globe. Pope Francis sent a telegram to the White House expressing his sorrow for the victims. The Russian embassy in the United States extended sympathies to the families of Russian nationals who died in the crash. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau offered his condolences to the grieving families and pledged support for the investigation. In the face of such tragedy, communities have rallied to support the victims' families. Counseling services have been made available, and fundraising efforts are underway to assist with funeral expenses and provide financial support to those left behind. This tragedy has not only taken the lives of 67 individuals, but has also prompted a critical examination of aviation safety protocols. As we remember those lost, the lessons learned from this disaster will shape the future of air travel, ensuring that such a catastrophe never happens again. Thank you for joining us in honoring the memory of those lost in this tragic event. We will continue to follow the investigation and provide updates on the measures being taken to enhance aviation safety. Please subscribe to stay informed on this developing story.